Hello and welcome to the 106th edition of the Take a Pull podcast. Andy Cummins back with Declan Carroll again for a quick return to the national hunt. Listowel and Tramore taking centre stage on Saturday of a bank holiday weekend here in Ireland. I know the Brits had theirs last week, but we have ours this week, so thoroughly looking forward to that. How are things with you, Dec? All good?
Yeah, good. I think it's the second time we might have done two jump cards on different race courses. On the one.
Yeah, we've done it before.
We did it one time, Naas and Clonmel, and I was actually about to go through the card at Clonmel, and it's
called off.
They're cancelled. I can't remember the reason, but I'd say that day was definitely going to be easier than this. I wouldn't be encouraging anyone to have a bet.
That's a beautiful thing to say at the top of the show. It's really that's no better way to open the show. Don't have a bet here. Just listen to the good fun. We're not going to be able to probably give you I don't know. We gave you the accordance to market raising last week and talked about Belgian beer. I don't know what this podcast is going to entail, but we'll try and make it fun, I suppose. What were you about to say there, Dec?
I know it's this is tough, and I don't think you'd get this on any other podcast. But we're putting both our hands in. We slapped here. Two meetings like this is there's a fine line between brave and stupid.
Yeah, exactly.
I think we might be on the stupid side of it this week.
Quite possibly. The only thing that disappoints me is that the last race of Listowel is 5:20 and the first race of Tramore is 5:10. I just wish it was the other way around, so you could be done taking a beating at Listowel and jump straight into Tramore, but it's just the wrong way around. But I think we get a few winners. I do think we get a few winners. The one I'm really looking forward to is actually the 6:15, or sorry, the 6:45 at Tramore. We'll get to that soon enough. Just because we're going to be proved right, that's all.
Yeah. I'd say easily proved right.
Easily proved right, and if he doesn't win, well then I don't know what you're doing. I really don't. Right, we jump straight into this, will we?
We will.
Saturday, Listowel, the Anglo printers remembering John H. Kearns Mayor's Hurdle. We very briefly touched on this race offline before we jumped on here, Dec. 4 runners: Jers, Gigi, Jane Eyre, Marine, who's staying in training for the summer with a looks rate 123, and then Royal Eagle rate ridden by Josh Williamson, who claims 7, and if you include his claim, if you're inclined to do that, is getting £11 from Marine, and she is rated £7 superior to admittedly a much more unexposed rival, but at the same time it's a bit of a test for Marine, and I would imagine the betting is, I don't know if it's going to reflect this, because Marine obviously comes here with a big reputation, but she's going to want to be good to put Royal Eagle in her place, wouldn't you think, off these terms?
Yeah, I think so. But Royal Eagle can be ground dependent. I think she definitely wants good ground, and it's going to be the first. Is this the first race of the year at Listowel?
First race of the season. Yeah, it actually is, isn't it? It is. It would be. Yeah, it would be.
Yeah, look, I suppose it's going to be the best of the ground, but like Listowel can get quite testing, and they can put a bit of water on. Like, I don't know what it's like down there at the moment, but it's been raining here on and off for the last, since the summer ended sometime.
Yeah.
In the last 2 weeks. So I can imagine it's going to be quite testing. So I'm not sure Royal Eagle is going to absolutely love it, but as you said, like, Marine's rated £7 inferior. She gives her £4 plus Josh Williamson's claim. Like, Marine is obviously highly thought of. She definitely had excuses at Cheltenham, like a blind man could see that, but she's well held at Fairy House, and we just don't really know what to make of her at the moment. And on ratings, she's just up against it. If Royal Eagle does run, they take the chances, and she handles the ground. Like, you'd be mad not to back her if she's any sort of a price, but it's not a betting race for me. There's just too many unknowns in it, too small a field, and it's probably going to be really poor value unless you got good ground, and Royal Eagle was odds against. But I don't think, I doubt we'll have either of them. I say Royal Eagle the odds on
Right, yeah, right. You just put it out there, but yeah, Royal Eagle, you think should be odds on?
Sorry, I was saying like I don't I don't think there'll be any value in this race now unless you're getting Royal Eagle odds against on good ground. Or I'd say Royal Eagle any price on good ground, but I'd say she's going to be odds on. It's going to be testing ground. I just no, it's a race I'd be avoiding now.
Yeah, you just wonder now if Marine's rated 123 and she goes and beats Royal Eagle, assuming Royal Eagle runs somewhere near her mark, like she could be there is every chance she's a well handicapped mare. Obviously the handicap goes out the window in a race of this nature, but it just makes me think what they might have in mind for her if they're keeping her going through the summer. Like are they thinking maybe there's a Galway hurdle maybe, like, and obviously she has to go right up the ratings for that, but if she goes and wins this, she'd probably have to win again, you know. And then,
maybe Michael will let us know.
Maybe
he's involved in the Cloud Sutton club, so maybe he'll let us know. Or
there's a few opportunities. Absolutely, there's a few opportunities. You can go to Tipperary then after this, and there's a few graded hurdles. You wouldn't even have to win them; just kind of get close. And likelihood is she'd be up to going close in them. And yeah, there's definitely a few options. Interesting to see what they do. But yeah, it's hard to get away from Royal Eagle on these terms. But I'd be really interested to see how the betting kind of plays out. You would have to have Royal Eagle favourite, I would have thought, on those terms. Now, if Marine can get improved past her, I wouldn't be surprised. But it is going to be a test for her. It's a very interesting race, I must say, to start off the Listowel season. The joint Listowel Races Supporters Club Maiden Hurdle is up next. It's also over 2 miles. This is a very interesting race. It says the hurdling debut of Sonny Boy Liston, a former Irish Ledger and Ebor winner. 8 years of age now. Hasn't been seen very much in the last couple of years. He's obviously had his issues. Now trained by Charles Burns. If he in any way retains ability and he can jump, and his dam was a winning hurdler. His mother did win over hurdles. Like, I know he's 8, but like, he still ran respectably enough behind Kyprios at Navan. Like, he's beaten 10 lengths or so in listed company. That would suggest he still holds some sort of ability. It's just a matter if he can jump. Who does he have to beat? Dream Diamond rate 116 probably sets the standard. Like, it's not the strongest of races. Do you think Sonny Boy Liston can go win this on debut? Or I know for a fact you're not going to be touching him because he's an 8-year-old and he's jumping. But what are your thoughts?
Well, Sunchart won again yesterday, didn't he?
Did he? I didn't actually say that.
Oh, this week anyway. I'm sure Sunchart won. Yeah, did he win the Ebor on the Ledger in the 1 year, Sonny Boy Liston, in the same season?
He did. He won the Ebor and then he went and won the Ledger on his next start. Yeah.
A few weeks.
Beat Twilight Payment, I think he beat. Yeah, it was about 3 weeks, 4 weeks apart.
Look, Cabaret Queen or Cabaret Prince is interesting. He won a 5-year-old point to point, but the second that point to point followed up next time out in another point to point. He's actually won 4 times on the track in Britain, once over hurdles and 3 times in a bumper, I think.
Right.
Look, he wasn't beaten too far in his maiden at Leopardstown back in March, won by Hugo Kane's horse Salisbury Hill. But you're saying Dream Diamond sets the standard, beating 3/4 of a length into Tour at Killarney last day. Probably second to Keller Star back in December, which is the real standout pick of form in here. But beating 3/4 of a length in Killarney. But a whole lot of business was second there, and Evan O'Carroll's been telling me there's a really good horse now for quite some time. He had one down to watch. He had this thing down for winning a handicap, but he's gone and just ran out of it. I think the last day in Killarney finished second. Like, he's finished ahead of Dream Diamond. That's where I'd be going with this one. He put me
a whole lot of business.
The O'Carroll fella.
Okay, whole lot of business then for that. Yeah, by Arctic Cosmos is I think he's a former Ledger winner, was he? I can't remember now. I'm trying to remember. I think he won the Ledger, Arctic Cosmos. He was he's a big influence for stamina and jumpers. Obviously, Captain Cody, I think, is his best one around at the moment. Scottish national winner. So yeah, maybe it'd be interesting when Arctic Cosmos does kind of when Whole Lot of Business does see go up and trip under rules. But I can see where you're coming from, Dec. It was a decent enough return. I would love to see Sonny Boy Liston win this. I don't think he will though. It's a bit of a flag that they're going hurdling, I think, at age of 8, after being away for such a long time. But it's not a race I'm going to be getting involved in, but the fan of me does want to see Sonny Boy Liston go and win this. So Sonny Boy Liston for me, and a Whole Lot of Business for yourself, Dec, is it?
Yeah, I'll take a Whole Lot of Business.
Lovely. Right, the Eamon Foran Memorial Maiden Hurdle is next. This is over 2.5 miles. Again, this is probably a race that's not going to take the most amount of winning you're ever going to see. Paul Nolan has Cara Sacra in here, maybe slightly, a good dual place efforts on his first 2 runs under rules. The one that interested me the most actually was right down the bottom there was See I Told You for Elmarie Holden. This was a point winner, a 4-year-old point winner that was they decided to bring back in. They went to sell it at Aintree, tried to sell it for around 75k, was bought back in. Disappointed on his rules bow in a bumper, but I would be inclined to forgive that if they turn down 75k from Elmarie Holden does tend to have them ready to go. If you were to forgive that run in a weak maiden hurdle, I would maybe look there. Like he did weaken quickly though. Like he was right up there in the van and did tail off pretty quickly. But if you were to forgive Dan going as point form, and obviously Connections not wanting to sell him for 75k, I think they might think there's a little bit more under the bonnet. So maybe a speculative bet for me there. But who do you like here, Dec?
Look, it's. I think it's Cara Sacra is to lose. Like he's point-to-point winner. Second is Zoffman at Nice. I think the word you were looking for, Andy, when you were talking about earlier, was disappointing when he was at Down Royal, and I was disappointed in him. But it still just looks quite a good opportunity for him to open his account here. And yeah, look, as boring as it is, I just think it's too good an opportunity for him. If he doesn't win this, it
would be.
It should be.
The form behind Zoffman wasn't bad, I suppose. But yeah, the Down Royal run was probably a slight step backwards, I suppose it's fair to say. He was keen, but it weakened quite quickly. I don't think it's the worst one. It's not unsurprising that the hood remains on him. Be interesting if they just give him his head and just go around a stove. It's a tight enough L track. Usually favours front runners, does on the flat anyway, but you could maybe see him getting his own way here and winning all right. I will give a chance to See I Told You though for Elmarie Holden and her team. Onto the 340, the John Thomas McNamara handicap hurdler, not to 100, back in your comfort zone after a weekend on the flat deck. So this is difficult though. We got the full 18 and 3 reserves. It doesn't get much more difficult than this really, but who do you like here?
There's 2 I like. I give a chance to both of them.
Right.
First one's River Vale, the 9-year-old. He's only raced 5 times. He's second at Limerick on the 29th of December, I think, on his handicap debut. The third has followed up since Huffy. What was it? Philip Rockwell horse, Holly's Dowie, or the one.
Last time out, was it?
The horse that was third has won twice since. Huffy's Dowie, is it? Huffy's
Dowie, Philip Rockwell.
But I'll find it now when I'm finished waffling on. But he was 6 on the next run when he was favourite and probably well fancied and looked like on paper the winner. But he did have excuses. I know he's carried 12 stone here, but jockey's going to take off 7. I think he's a really, really good chance. The other one is Mellum, who would have got a few mentions on here as well. 6-year-old. Just took a few runs to really kind of learn his job and what to do, but he's been quite consistent since. He was second the last day off 89. He's up £2.91. There's one in him and it's coming very, very soon. So that's the reason I'm taking the 2 of them. I don't want to miss it when it is his turn.
Yeah, that's fair enough. Yeah, it's fair enough to take two in this as well. You're probably going to get a price on both of them. The one I came down on was Tour Moon. And I actually was getting very excited about this one until I realised the race was at Listowel and not Tramore. So I got my tracks mixed up when I was studying this race, because I was basing it on his form at Tramore. He's been a relatively ground versatile horse, placed twice there off 90 and 92 in January and April of 2024. I thought his comeback run behind Give Me a Buzz at Tipperary off 87 wasn't bad. He seemed to just get tired late. He's been given a chance by the handicap here off 84. Dunham Miler coming in to take the ride. Stepped back up to 2.5 miles. He's definitely on a competitive mark, but as you know, it's at this level when you're not unexposed, it's difficult enough to get your turn. But I think this horse can be competitive at the very least. And I think he's placed prospects and he should be a nice enough price. So I'll take a little chance on Tour Moon there in the 340.
The horse I was trying to think of is Duffy's Hoddy.
Duffy's Hoddy, okay.
Yeah. Knockback Rammer won it. He's won twice since.
Okay, happy days. Nice. Moving on to the 413, the insurance wise handicap hurdle again over 2.5 miles. Doesn't get any easier this card really, although these are a better quality of horse, the top weight being Little Biggie off 121. A horse that I fancy that Punchestown runs here, Dec, Ross O'Sullivan's Free Flow. If I liked him at Punchestown in a much more competitive race, he missed that due to an allergy. Hasn't been seen in a little over 2 months, 2.5 months nearly now. But this isn't a bad opportunity for him despite his inexperience. I think he's a fair chance of landing this. But who do you like?
I went for a 9-year-old in the last race, Andy, and I'm going for an 11-year-old here.
West Cork Wild Way, is it? Okay.
Okay, £7 below his last hurdle run, which was April last year, like just over a year ago. He's been, I think he's chased on the rails, and then he's ran with some point to points. He was second to 2 point to points. He was actually second to Lifetime Ambition. Like his point form and his Hunter Chase form hasn't been overly bad. He's certainly not thrown in the towel. And £7, he's far enough below his last hurdle run, which wasn't bad, to suggest that although he's 11, like he could be well handicapped here. The only other one that kind of caught me eye was Chef's Kiss, 5-year-old, getting stronger. May want a little bit further, but I just wouldn't have the confidence in Chef's Kiss just yet. I did fancy him a couple of runs ago, but I'm just disappointed with him. But West Cork Wildway, 11-year-old.
West Cork Wildway for Dec. Right, yeah, and I'll be on Free Flow for the Ross O'Sullivan team. The 448, the Knockanoor handicap hurdle. That's a race named after. He was a. Did he win a few times around Listowel or something? Did he?
I'm not sure.
I think there was a horse called Knockanoor. I could be wrong. Maybe I'm completely making that up. I will double check it while you're speaking about the race. Who's your fancy anyway here, Dec?
It will be Sir Carnegie. He was toured off 87 at Down Royal in April. He was fifth when probably not handling Downpatrick the last day, and the last was a maiden. Now just doesn't suit some horses. A 5-year-old, he'd be I like Sir Carnegie here. Loch Niagara was the other one I was looking at. He's coming down the weights, but he hasn't won yet. He's 0 from 8, I think. It might be more, and I just it's taking a while now. But I like Sir Carnegie here.
Sir Carnegie, okay.
I'm getting into this. I might have a bet on Saturday.
Starting to get rolling now as we approach Tramore. The Old Man Dingle colours I see represented here for Owen Griffin. Loch Nagara. First time Hood goes on, which I'm not overly surprised about. Was very keen at Wexford. But what I'm very interested at here now is he was keen over 2 miles. They're stepping him up to 3 miles. They went to... Obviously, they've reached for the Hood to probably try and get him to settle over this trip. But he did lead for a bit of a way at Wexford before weakening, and he was well back that day. He went off favourite. So it'll be interesting to see what the betting kind of says here. He definitely has the ability to win off 88. He's plenty of placed efforts for Matt Daly in the low 90s when seen by him. This will only be a second start for Owen Griffin, and the horse, despite being 8, has only had 9 career starts if you include its effort in the point-to-point field. There could be scope for improvement, but admittedly he would want to settle stepping up from 2 miles to 3 miles. I just think given the way he was back last time out and the step up in trip with the first time Hood, I think he has a chance, and I think he's going to be a decent enough price. Maybe I'm swayed by the colours, I don't know, but I'll take a chance on Lochnagarra in the 448. The bumper then, Dec, Philly's bumper. Did you throw much shade at this? The 520 didn't look right. Full of
jumps going on now.
There's
I did kind of have a look at the bumper in Tramore, but not in Listowel.
Okay, just want to see if there's any.
The jump race at Tramore is going on before the bumper, so
yeah, that's exactly it. So let's just jump straight in then. The 510. Yeah, this is an interesting enough mares beginners. Amanha in here, Dec, a winner for you on the podcast a few months ago, when dropping down in class and winning pretty well, in fairness, at Navan. Well back to do so that day. Femme Magnifique pulled up on her last 2 starts, but obviously top connections preserve. And then Gway Quill, who there's not much of her, but she's a bit of a terrier, and it'd be interesting to see how she jumps a fence. Who's your fancy here, Dec?
Look, I'd say, on paper, Gway Quill set the standards. Like, she's still only 7. It's kind of hard to believe. She seems to be around for such a long time, and she runs big races at Leopardstown. She's run big races at Leopardstown on big days. She was second on her chase debut, so she has a bit of chase experience. She's the highest rated in here, I think. I'd imagine she is.
Yeah, she is comfortably. Yeah.
But a lot of her, a lot of her big runs have come in handicaps. 3 miles around Leopardstown, and I just think Amanha, it's her chase debut. She is lower rated, but she's been highly tried, and sometimes it's just hard to climb the ratings when you are running in listed races or higher. And like when you're winning handicaps, you're coming second, you're going up the weights quicker. Amanha's also less miles on the clock. They're same age, but yeah. Do you know what? Just while you were talking, Andy, I flicked on to check the tissues. Amanha was 7-1. I'd absolutely love that now. On paper, Gway Quill sets the standard, but Amanha, as I said, lower rated but highly tried and less miles on the clock. I'd be quite keen on her.
What are the tissues saying about Gway Quill? But even money probably, or something, is it?
5-4.
Yeah, I'd say she'd be even money. I'd imagine if you got 5-4, I'd be. She probably should be a shade of odds on in this field. If she's had a clear round to start with, she has experience. I'd say even
she has experience on her side, but
yeah,
a man has less exposed.
Fair enough. Yeah, now go with the less exposed, and that's understandable. Gway Quill at evens or better would probably be a bet for me in this, to be honest with you. But I don't think we're going to get that. I think that those tissues will be a little bit off. But 7-1 Amanha, that'd be more than fair if that's what she was trading at. Right, the Tramore handicap chaser, probably up all night thinking of the name of this race. They might need to employ Peter Rowe to name their races in the future. Maybe we'll be doing that with his new upcoming gig. We'll see. Anyway, Piper's Bareem, one I really fancied, 2 starts back, unseated at the second, and duly obliged next time out when I was not on, nor were we probably recording. Always nice to see that. Another favourite of mine, Pebble Blue. I'm not sure if they just keep running her over the wrong trip, or is she just a really weak finisher? Because the amount of time she's jumped the last and just faded. 2 miles 6 on decent ground is probably right up her street, but I don't know if I can bring myself to back her again, because I'm pretty sure I've warned you in the past to talk me off that cliff whenever I'm about to tip her, and I'm nearly going to do it again. I'm very, very close to doing it again. But who do you like anyway here in this field of 10 deck?
Oh, I did find this. I was struggling here a bit, but I've gone with Port Arlington. I was a bit surprised still only 6 because now we done a lot of talking about him and we've seen him win over fences. Did he win on the flat or did he give it a good go? He's won over hurdles.
He's done plenty.
He's the winner here at Tramore off 95. He's £11 higher, but he's won over hurdles since that was off 96. But I think this is a horse with, you know, a few more races in him, and Ian Donahue, he's able to get them to win again. Like we've seen him with St. Denis as well. The way he campaigns them, it's like horses thrive on racing. They seem to love it, and he's well able to place them, switching between codes. So, like as a 6-year-old, I think he's won 2 races in the winter as well, and he's beating winter horses coming here. Well, that was 11 down higher. I think he's the one to be here.
I probably think Pebble Blue is the one to be. I can't believe I'm doing it. I'm going to do it. I'm going to. I 2 mile 6 on good ground at a track like Tramore. Just rider like the best
But Andy,
horse
are we going to get
plays.
good ground? Because like
I don't know what's the weather been like down in Tramore. I'm working on the consensus that it's going to be decent enough ground.
Yeah, well, see, and this is the thing. Like, I was reading some absolute pony there recently about. Well, no, actually, it's for the Derby, isn't it? It's the Derby this year is 3-day declarations.
Yeah,
72-hour deck for and this is coming from flat racing people where, like, they're used to watch. They like watching these big races in Dubai and America, where they can control the weather over there. Never mind it not changing. Have whatever weather they want over there. But like we're doing declaration. We're doing a podcast now, less than 48 hours to racing, and you're walking off of being good ground, and I'm walking off of being soft ground, and neither of us have a clue what the ground is going to be like. So, why do we want to move the Epsom Derby to 72-hour declarations now, when like it's just going to cost owners money, and it's not cheap to enter in the Derby. Like,
far from it.
Like, me and you are walking off 2 different, what we think the ground is going to be like, 2 different descriptions.
Well, one of us will be off to a flyer on Saturday anyway.
Yeah, for a race down the road in less than 2 days' time.
Yeah.
And we've no idea. Say the track has no idea what way it's going to be.
Yeah. It's not easy.
What is the weather to be like over the next 2 days? Probably a bit of everything.
Changeable is probably the best. Yeah, it's probably that's the best thing. Get out of jail.
What are British racing doing? Like, who are they doing this for? Why do you need, like, let's make another change?
It's probably to try to get the foreign audience in to build the race up. That's the only thing I can. But then again, if you're going to do it for Royal Ascot. Maybe don't do it for the Derby. Well, I don't know.
Yeah, but we don't.
It'll come in at Cheltenham. I could nearly guarantee it'll come in at Cheltenham.
But we don't live in a part of the world where it makes sense. 48 hours is too long. Now, since COVID, 48 hours for every race is brilliant for people like us who want to talk about it and do podcasts. Like, it'd be very difficult for us to do a podcast with 24-hour declarations because you don't have.
We'd be tipping non-runners like mental.
Yeah, like, you don't have the shelf life if you wait for 24 hours. Like, 48 hours is short enough in the podcast world, but in the racing world, like, the weather can change here so quickly, and it's so unpredictable that I just think changing the Derby, it's kind of like 2 fingers up to connections to owners. I know if you have a Derby horse, money's probably no object, like, it probably doesn't matter. But let's say some syndicate got a horse and he was that good and they didn't sell him. They have to fork out an awful lot of money now, and sit with their fingers crossed, hoping they get their weather and they get their ground for 72 hours. Be a long time then, wouldn't it?
Yeah, it would be. Yeah, plenty of time for it to step on a stone as well.
Yeah,
so there's all sorts. Yeah, but yeah, no, I think that's the world we're going to. I think a lot of big races I think we're going to go down that route. I don't know if we'll see it in Ireland. I don't think there's a need for it, but I could see a few races.
Won't happen here. Not hoping to happen here.
No, probably not.
Not a chance would happen here.
Right, so after Pebble Blue hopefully wins that 5:45, we'll jump on to the 6:15. Who are you on there, Dec? Actually, before I jump back, you were on Port Arlington. Yeah, Port Arlington there, right, for the 5:45. The Racing TV 3-month trial handicap chase not 100 is next. I was fairly stumped trying to find a winner of this one now, to be honest with you. This wasn't easy. Who's your fancy, or do you have one?
I went through this race. I said, no, can't. And I said, no, I'm finding something in that race. So I went through the rest of the card and I came back to it.
Right.
And I have landed on Maid on the Moon.
Maid
she's
on
an
the
8-year-old. She's 0 from 6 of her fences, but she's been quite highly tried now of her fences. She's ran in 2 grade 2s in a listed race. Now, the last day she finished behind Nara about, I think, 100 lengths, but she did win the Leopardstown handicap in a March. I can't remember whether it was last year or the year before, off 87. Right. She's 11 pounds higher than that now, but like, she's coming here with good experience, and like, when you look at the bare form on paper, you're like, no, just skim by that. And I did the first time. I just looked at the numbers and I was like, no, move on. But when I came back, I was just determined. I was determined to find horses. I wasn't skipping a handicap without finding a horse. So I've landed on her. So that's going to be the only bet of the weekend, Andy.
Okay. I thought the bingo machine's probably screaming the winner at us here up in your attic or wherever you have it out in the shed.
I don't know where the bingo machine is.
It's probably out in the attic or something, but or up in the attic. It's this is a tough enough race.
It's around. Hang on, the bingo machine's around.
Early arrival was.
Well, you can take us. You can give us your selection before we get the winner.
It's not a selection by any stretch. I just thought early arrival, despite being a 10-year-old, you were taking into account that he's going to be able to go well fresh. He has done in the past, but again, now being 10, it is a question. He's on a rating now of 82. He's definitely a better hurdler than he is a chaser. But look, if he's able to go well fresh, it would be the most tentative of selections. He's never won over fences. He's a 3-time hurdle winner from 30 starts. There's a reason they probably avoid fences, but off 82, it could be a big price. He might run okay for a long way, but I wouldn't be recommending him if you were looking for a really strong bet on the card. But if you were there and enjoying yourself, he might be one that could give you a little run for your money.
But thanks for joining us. Yeah, no, we meant to have you back on before now. We're just.
Oh, you actually found it, did you?
Yeah. No, you're not into the flat anyway. It's all we didn't answer last week. One, we're struggling with this one. He reckons he's a good thing here.
He can have me seat if he wins this. I bet he's gonna bitch out and pick the reserve. I know he is.
Yeah. Oh, number 13.
Oh, number 13. Well loved. That's gonna be the favourite. Probably last time out winner, mare, 8-year-old. Tongue tie is on. It'll probably mug us off now because to win off 74, like, how do you win off 70? Getting to even run off 74 is quite impressive, but to be coming in off a win to a race and be still rated under 80 under National Hunt rules is a rarity. It's probably rarer than unicorn shit, to be honest with you, but that's the type of horses we're dealing with here on this.
What sort of a level is that? If you win off 74, you only get £5.
Yeah, but like
the penalty would have been bigger.
To be a last time out winner and rated under 80 is pretty impressive, to be honest with you. it's rare enough. On to the 6:45. Thank you for the bingo machine for giving us the favour there. The group packages and discounts on Tramore races.ie maiden hurdle. We probably have to get someone on to talk about those discounts. Maybe give us a few discounts, but we'll plug we'll keep plugging the cards. But this is the race I cannot wait for now. This is Keynesburg returning to a trip that he's not going to vomit over, which is great to see. They've been running them over the wrong trip for a long time. Last seen at 2 miles, getting beaten 10 lengths by Ethical Diamond, but there was no shame in that. Was beaten by Laffey before that at Limerick, who was thought good enough to run in a graded race on his next start. Nice. Look, I'm just going to put it out there. He's going to be about probably 1 to 3 to win this race. But
I tell you what, Andy, he's second favourite on the tissues.
Nearly threw up there. How? What the hell's favourite? Like, is a Stone Boy favourite or something? Blue Brazil?
The Star Boy's favourite on the tissue.
All right, okay. So we've got a Blue Brazil 5-year-old who's never seen the track in his life. Does he have a pedigree or something? I have to check this. 68 grand store. Okay, that's half brother to I Am the Moon, and a half sister to Miss Fleming. I think that's a Barry Connell mare, possibly bumper winner to Dan. Wasn't it? I'll double check. I'm literally studying as on the go here. Miss Fleming, look, Tom George.
I just thought we'd have a laugh about the Dr. Dino the 2 miles, and we'd quickly move on here. But Jesus, if he's not going to be the 1 to 3.
If he's tongue tying pieces first time, and like he's been running in winter maiden hurdles at trips that he's just not able to win over, and now he's coming back to 2 miles at a track like Tramore on decent ground by the best 2 mile stallion out there. And then some people might say, but Blue Brazil's the sire of constitutionality. Yeah, but no, Dr. Dino only gets 2 milers unless they're mares.
Okay.
So unless they're mares. So if Keynesburg is not favourite, like 122 should be winning you nearly any maiden hurdle at this time of year, realistically.
Yeah, like it's June on Sunday.
Yeah, like 122 should be like, you should be nearly not coming off the bridle if you're hating 122. If he's not favourite,
get stuck in.
Yeah, just get stuck in. Yeah, absolutely. GSI. Right, onto the 7:15, the Dunmore East handicap hurdle. Another not to 100, just in case we weren't having enough fun already. And this one's over 2 miles. Probably not as hard as some of the other races, but still not easy at the same time. Duck eggs galore up the top there with Turkey Road and Benzene and a few others. Glendower. Who do you like here, Dec? Again, I suppose something has to win, doesn't it?
I like Glendower.
Right, okay.
4-year-old. Hasn't been off. It has been off at all, including a handicap debut. But he did show something at Ballinrobe on his last maiden run. It's a second handicap now. And to be honest, there wasn't much else to go on in this race, but like if that turned up in the middle of November, he'd be ticking a lot of boxes as well. It's just his age I'd be slightly worried about. But
right.
Yeah, we go with Glendower.
Glendower, I came down on Goodbye Milan. Danny Mullins in to take the ride. Ran okay at Tipperary on her reappearance. Might have just got tired late. She'll come on for the run. Has run well off ratings in the high 80s and low 90s. Maybe she's not hiding much from the handicapper, but she should be competitive enough off 89. Probably a solid place chance after a decent enough comeback run. So I'll take a chance on Goodbye Milan in the 7:15. The 7:45 Dec, Start Your Racing TV 3-month trial now, maiden hurdle. I couldn't think of a better Saturday to choose it than with Tramore and Listowel on the card. 2 mile 5, basically 2 mile 6, I suppose. On Cloud Wine for Willie Mullins and Sunset Boulevard. Looking at their profiles, potentially 2 horses that are difficult to train. On Cloud Wine pulled up last time out. Pretty disappointing. Paul Town end up. Not the greatest of maiden hurdles here. Who do you like though?
Well, you're gonna have to ask me Meg here, Andy, because
This is, I would nearly say, like Sunset Boulevard is probably ran to, the high 90s, maybe low 100s on his hurdles debut, possibly probably high 90s more so.
Was he not well beat the last day?
I was well beat, yeah, he was well beat, but it was Coyote Spirit. That was a bumper, though, wasn't it? The Coyote Spirit's a nice horse, though. I'm trying to. It's probably not.
Only one man who could find the winner in this race. There's no point us even trying.
Go on, who's going to win this? I actually think he ran. I think that wasn't a bad bumper at Bellewstown. To be honest, that Coyote Spirit did win. So, yeah. Anyway, who does he like?
Even he's struggling. Hang on, we get one out there. Toward the end now.
They're going to be wheeling that one for a while.
Number 8.
Dying to hurl. Dying to hurl this card out of my.
Who's he, boy?
Dying. Brought out of Broadway Boulevard. Okay. Yeah, that's absolutely no chance. Sorry, but sorry, it'll be handicaps for that one. I'd take a chance on Sunset Boulevard in his hurdling debut. I don't think that was a bad bumper he ran in the last day, and I don't think this race is going to take much winning, if at all, any. So, you said you'd like something in the mare's bumper at 8:15, and yeah, Tramore, or did I?
Yeah, well, I think Willie has a debutant in here, but early board was fourth at Leopardstown, and the third, Hello Jane, has won since. She was actually, she was beaten at Ferryhouse. She was second by a horse you probably want to put in your notebooks, and I cannot remember her name. Begins with a Z, I think. 1 second. Everyone stay there. And
there was Moon Eclipse won the bumper at Leopardstown that she was fourth in, early bird.
Yeah, but the one you want. So Hello Jane went to Ferryhouse then, and she was second to Zanouche.
That's
okay. The horse I think you want to put in your notebook. So, and
we're not putting a Colin Murphy horse in a notebook. I can't do that.
Come here, to Colin Murphy. Colin Murphy can get this thing to win.
The Bachelor's Banes are out of
Ferryhouse. It goes to the notebook.
Beating 39 lengths. Beating 39 lengths. I look at Colin. He took in 10th in a bumper behind Samanzarak, which was apparently the worst bumper that's ever run ever, with Yeshel and Active Innocence. Remember that one? And then was fourth to Cowabunga on its hurdling debut with Cocktail Divin and William Money. So it was a pretty good maiden hurdle that they ran in, and then back to bumpers at 10-1 to go and win. And
I was there that day, and she just went Zanouche.
Do you know what we should buy her? We should get a syndicate together. We'll buy her. she must be a weapon.
This is the second coming of Follow Livedette.
Yeah, we'll go buy her. Very good. Zanouche, okay, stick it in the tracker and let it break your heart whenever we see it next winter. Anyway, go on. Looking forward to losing a fortune on that now. Give that to Tap 120 or 130 now. Look forward to doing me nuts on that one now. Maybe a down royal in that mare's hurdle.
It's only the things you pick out that have been absolutely strangled that never win. But when you get an Impervious or the Big Zeb or the Volo Livedette, you can't get them beat.
You can try, I suppose.
You can't get the good ones beat. Did he not only win the Killarney National this month?
He did. He's actually been in good form. Like, Lovely Hurling ran a blinder at the Punchestown Festival as well. So, like, yeah, the string ran good nick this spring, in fairness. We'll see how long it lasts. But anyway, so what was even the selection? We were just talking about Zanouche there. It was complete early bird, was it?
Early bird, yeah.
Early bird for Jonathan Sweeney. Underrated.
Zanouche in the
tracker. Yeah, Zanouche in the notebook. Jonathan Sweeney, underrated handler in my book. Right, that brings us to the end of Listowel Tramore for Tap 106. Fun as always. A nice cameo from the bingo machine always helps as well to get us through. This evening. What's your best bet over the 14 odd races we covered there?
Jesus.
Do you have
Can I
if
have a
if
quick
if
look?
Canesburg? Like, to be honest, if you got odds against on Canesburg and Guayquil, like you'd be watching the Champions League a happy man, I'd say.
Oh, Champions League's on there.
It's
Jeez.
yeah.
There's a lot happening. The Dubs are on Sunday.
Where are you?
Jeez.
Are they playing in Croker? Are they?
They are. It's yeah. My sister's 30th as well, so I'm out for that straight after the match.
Oh, very good.
So busy weekend. Strongest bet. Maybe a man. Maybe a man hat.
All right. Okay. Fair enough.
Although she's never changed before, so although I got a bit frisky about Maiden the more, didn't I?
You did, yeah. After coming back
to the show, I wouldn't encourage anyone to have a bet. You know, there's 14 jump races on in Ireland on Saturday, and it's so tempting. But I'm prepared for us to draw the blank on Saturday.
So yeah, we're working off a low floor, which is good. I'll take a chance on Tour Moon in the 340 at Listowel. And as I said, if I got a double on Guayquil and Canesburg at backable prices, I would go in there. Oh God, I can't do it. I can't bring myself to nearly nap Pebble Blue again. She's broken my heart too many times. Broken my heart too many times.
Someone else we were hoping would be a price. Royal Eagle. If it's good ground and Royal Eagle's odds against, we'd be sticking her in with Kent.
Yeah, you could definitely do that. I could be talking to that for sure.
She's getting about. What is she getting?
I can't believe I love carrying. I love covering these cards as much as the next person, but I'd love to know just why we're not covering these races on a Tuesday night and not a Thursday night. Like, what are these races doing on a Saturday in Ireland, like in the middle of the flat season?
Well, it's a festival at Tramore.
Yeah, but like, stick the flat card on in Listowel then, no?
It's a festival in Listowel as well. It's
festivals all over the shop.
Both courses have flat cards.
Yeah, I think they should have maybe put the flat card on. Actually, no, they can't, because they probably get rid of the obstacles, do they? They probably get rid of the hurdles for their flat track, do they? So it's probably a pain in the arse for them. I was just thinking maybe have the Listowel card on Saturday and the flat card on Saturday and the jump card on Sunday, but maybe it probably doesn't make sense to do that.
For as much as you're complaining now about these jump races,
I'm complaining.
Does anyone watch flat racing at Tramore and Listowel?
I couldn't imagine what flat racing at Tramore would be like. Actually, there's only like 3 starting points, isn't there? Like at Tramore.
I know Aidan runs a few at Listowel.
Oh yeah, Anthony Van Dyke won a Listowel. Or did he win a Killarney Maiden? Actually, he might have won a Killarney Maiden. Actually,
he won a Killarney Maiden, I think. Yeah. But does anyone really turn around to watch flat racing in Listowel or Tramore or any of the country tracks? Like, you watch flat racing at Naas, Navan, Curragh, Cork, Tip.
Anywhere around the Pale, isn't it really?
You got go flat card at Ballinrobe in a week.
I'd love a good flat card at Ballinrobe. It's a great flat track, underrated flat track at Ballinrobe. Yeah, it's not the worst card actually in the world at Listowel there on Sunday. I might just stick a few tips up on Twitter for that. If I'm not fighting for my life after the Champions League final. Right, that brings us to an end of Tap 106. We always appreciate your guys' comments and support. So just to keep like, share, and subscribe and all the good stuff, we'll be around. Had a lot of fun there. That was good. I'd say we'll be doing well to find some winners, admittedly, but
yeah. But anyone sticking up to this.
Yeah. Yeah, you're sick, but we love you.
You're my kind of people.
Yeah, I'd have a point with you. All right, until the next time, Tap 107 will be sometime next week, I'm sure. All the best and bye-bye.
Cheers.